go ahead and toss it over to a guy who claims that he is an engineer and knows mathematics, but I believe it's a lie, and all he is a beard connoisseur, findable carpet, and he's from Canada, Leafex.
See, the math I'm doing is just beyond what you guys can comprehend. It's just next level. But things got a heck of a lot more manly around here. Mr. Beard, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. That was a lengthy introduction for myself. I don't even know if I can comment on it, but this game's going to be big. They commented on Eff0rt being in now the underdog spot. I'm not even going to mention it. I know they want me to. I'm not going to talk about it. But yeah, Eff0rt's in the underdog spot. They made it into group stages last time, and then they had a really difficult time. They did not perform very well at all. Yep. They lost most of their games in group stages, but that gives them almost a little bit more to want to fight for. Now, they've made it this far again, which still proves their worth. They're still all the way here.
Yeah, I mean, like, making this far means, like, okay, well, you're doing something right.
Yeah, they're doing something right, but they are against the Flying Dutchmen, who have done nothing but prove themselves on the large stage of the RLCS.
Yeah, I think it's going to be definitely a difficult and tall order for Eff0rt against Flying Dutchmen, who's again, as they mentioned at the desk, showing that they want this. They want to win this. They're pushing forward and they're doing the best they can. But we'll see who can grab this spot. Eff0rt, Flying Dutchmen. Game number 1 of this best of 3, and that's already a shot on net. Jesse barely keeping that one out. Looks like Eff0rt definitely saying we're in this, guys. We're in this.
They want to kick it off quick because they know that the Flying Dutchman has the skill for it. They did so well in group stages. They pretty much dominated them, I believe, when they got paired up in the group stages. They had to play against each other. So they want to come out really early on and just let them know, like, we're a threat. Don't treat us poorly.
Well, and that's actually maybe a good strategy, because if you're playing against a team that's going to pick out your flaws and start to capitalize, getting a couple goals early on ain't going to hurt you. Before they can do that, we'll see if they can get a play started off the corner here, but Vogan's going to pick it up. On the midfield, just dribble it himself. That Octane, well, can he do it? Trying to get over Devo. Devo reads that one. Dogu up with a touch, though. It's on target. Gets a second touch. Dogu. Oh, my goodness.
What? The most unintentional second touch yet. So beautiful. He gets that first touch. Actually does put it on target. And when they went to go clear, they put it right up back into Dogu. He did position his car in a way.
He dipped his nose.
He did dip his nose in case it came back his way, and it came directly in front of him. He didn't even boost. He literally just fell onto that one. So the mixture of unintention and also utilizing the position you're in. But
just
great
in
first
case,
goal.
but wow, Vogan off midfield. Midfield, he gets this chip.
This was I think this had to be one of the most feels backflip I have seen in a long time.
Oh,
Devo had all the time in the world for this, and all he could do was watch it soar over his car.
No. I was confused. I'm like, someone had to be there for that. Devo feels bad, man. Dogu just waiting. Look at that little antsiness there. Just let's go. Revving up the car engine. He does win out that one. Dogu with another touch off the backboard. Could be scary. Vogan way wide on that one. But Jesse to follow it up. Just keeping the pressure on. Off the backboard again. Dogu, Vogan both going to go back for boost. Dogu turning around to steal it away from Cheerio. And that's on net. No one at all for Eff0rt. I see the confusion on your face.
They're getting a little antsy, I see. We saw both Cheerio and Devo go up for that one. Really, only they should have easily been able to call each other off or just known. One of those, I mean, they both kind of got there at the same, but then neither one actually even hit the thing. And it just left the net wide open to bring this to a 3-0 game with only just over a minute done.
I got to point out, that's one of the best celebrations, too, just ending up on your backside or your front side. I know Lawler's a specialist in that one. Shot from Vogan gets stopped out by Tinney. Back to midfield, Cheerio with a long shot, trying to put that in the top corner. It's a little bit wide. Dogu also stops it anyways. Devo backing off. Good touch from him to keep the pressure on out to Tinney. Tinney off the backboard. Cheerio to follow it up. A little bit wide on that one. Could have been a goal in the net. To midfield. The push out from Flying Dutchman. They need to get out of their own zone. They do. Lose it on that one is Dogu. Vogan to follow it up. Backboard. Cheerio takes that away to midfield again. A little back and forth as both teams try to either get out of their zone or get some offensive plays started up. It's a neutral 50-50 if I'd ever seen one there. Tinney doing the best he can to keep that moving forward. Cheerio under that. Both teams just trying to recuperate themselves, I guess. Devo has a chance to set it up. No teammate at all there to reciprocate on that.
Eff0rt's trying really hard to get out of their half and turn it into a play. But Flying Dutchman, they've got the wide rotation. We saw it happen in the first game, and even the game we just saw with Supersonic. When you're doing a good job of keeping your opponent's half, you're never really letting them get their collective minds together to turn it into a play. And unless they're a team that excels at turning defense into offense quickly, which right now is seeming like Eff0rt struggling with, they're going to constantly be trying to just fix mistakes as opposed to actually making a play out of something.
Very good point. The transition can be tough, switching from defense to offense. See if maybe they can make those fixes here off the, oh no, the self-goal from Devo. Devo put that one, that was not going in.
This was not already going in. Jesse did have the touch. He was trying to keep the pressure up. He puts it to the side of the net, maybe trying to get the backboard. Devo thought he was going to be able to get there in time. He tried to read the bounce well, which was actually smart. He knew that he wasn't going to beat it to the backboard, which would have been his first job. But then when he realized he wasn't going to beat it, he's like, all right, I'm going to get it off the bounce first before they do. But he got there a little too early, a little misjudgment. He puts it in his own net.
And it's interesting. You saw that play where no one was attacking it. They made a mistake. I think it's just Zero Effort's getting a little too fast. I think they're playing a little too fast. And you saw Flying Dutchman at one point go back for boost, and Zero Effort still couldn't get out of the zone. So it's just, I think they're just playing a little too quick, as you mentioned earlier, antsy. We'll see if they get a play started. 4-0, minute 50 left in game number 1. Devo with a shot off the backboard. Someone to follow it up. Cheerio a little bit too over top. Dogu's going to try to put some pressure on to keep it out. Tinney keeps it in instead. Jesse and Vogan both waiting back patiently, and a touch. Going to go a little while. That's actually on target. Jesse almost cleaned that up. Tinney, the last defender, keeps Vogan from getting a goal.
We just saw all 3 Zero Effort players go for that, and if that last shot wasn't actually directly at Tinney's hood, that would have been right into net. This communication, this antsiness, they're scared. They know they're 4 goals down. This game, they may have kind of given up on this game already. Hopefully not. They're going to maybe get some momentum going into the second game, but you can tell they're not able to play what they want to play. They're just having to try and play off of what the Flying Dutchmen are giving them, and that's never a position you want to put yourself in.
Like even a few seconds ago there, we saw no one approaching that ball, even putting a body in the way. So just waiting it out maybe for this final minute of gameplay. Backboard is Jesse, gonna just try to take out a defender. No play out of that. Tinney see if he can get a goal himself. Lose on 50-50. Vogan almost followed that one through. So trying to get at least another goal. They just want more stats. They know we're tracking. They just want as many goals as possible. Dogu, almost a good backflip out. Doesn't quite make it where he wanted it. Chiro's going to set this one down for Devo. Devo takes him out instead, and that's a dangerous spot. Tinney, what is going on for Zero Effort?
They're getting too antsy to make something out of it. Right now, Flying Dutchman's giving them a little bit of space because Flying Dutchman knows they have the 4 goals. They're kind of sitting on it, but they need to take advantage of the time. Slow it down. Get in position for passes. I've seen a couple of good touches from Zero Effort putting it to the middle, but then none of their players are actually there in time anyway. So they just need to make sure they're working off of each other's touches.
Absolutely right. 10 seconds left in this, and it looks like this game is going to be going to Flying Dutchman. Dogu, Jesse, and Vogan taking the win on this. Another goal for themselves. They can never let it go down to 0, can they?
No, and this was one of the cooler goal steals I've seen in a while. Jesse had a clear, open shot, and Dogu's like, nah, I just want to steal this a little bit. Actually really skilled steal, though. I mean,
yeah.
He hit it with the top of his car, kept the speed on it, and put it on target still.
Oh, any other touch would have sent that off target probably, yeah. Incredible 3 seconds left. This is probably, most likely, a 5-0 as this drops down for Flying Dutchman. Game number 1. They take it. And this is not looking good from the way that Zero Effort was playing in that match.
This game was a Flying Dutchman story. They had full control, and even the times that Zero Effort did have possession of the ball, all they were doing was taking what the Flying Dutchman gave them as opposed to making something themselves. The Flying Dutchman would give them space when they felt comfortable, and then Zero Effort wasn't able to turn that into something, and Flying Dutchman just got control right back. There really wasn't many threats that Zero Effort put on Flying Dutchman. They have the skill, but this entire game they really weren't able to show what they can do.
I think, again, earlier on you mentioned already playing antsy, and it didn't change throughout it. They just outpaced themselves. They were trying to get way ahead of where the play was, that they were leaving so much open space for Flying Dutchman, and they capitalized. It ended up being a 5-0. Coming in the second one, you can't do that. I think they need to slow it down, think about what they're doing, and coordinate together exactly as you said.
And it's a problem we've seen Zero Effort have before. You know, when we've casted them here at the group stages, they sometimes get overwhelmed. I don't know if it's maybe because they know they're against a good team or just whatever's going on internally with them. I've seen all 3 of these players do some really cool stuff, but for some reason, they don't seem to click a lot. And when they do, it's great. Like, I've seen Zero Effort have some really fun stuff, and in certain leagues, I've seen them take out really big teams. But they need to be more consistent as to when they pull that off.
Now, do you think anyone else on their roster would have been a better choice than who they have playing today?
It's hard to say. This is one of the few teams that runs with such a big roster. They like to sub out mid-series when the tournaments allow them. These are the 3 guys I see them seem to play with the most.
Oh, that is going to sit on the goal line. Not quite making it in. That's something that they probably wanted to get an early goal. All right, we'll see, though, if Flying Dutchman can turn around and get another early one of themselves, or if they can keep up the quick momentum they just had off the kickoff. Zero Effort needs to get something going on. Vogan leaving that for Jesse. Jesse to push that out. Can he get the second touch? Can't. Doku loses a 50-50 to midfield. Tinney to pick it up. Gets a touch that throws it out of his position. Could have probably got a better touch to roll it out for his teammate, but back to their own zone they go to try from the beginning. From block number 1, Devo just winning it on Jesse there, but Vogan to finish it off. The bump from Jesse on Tinny.
The classic EU bumping that we like to see. We talk about the EU tends to have a little more aggressive play style, but right here, all 3 players of Eff0rt sitting in net. Devo coming off the wall, which is never a place you really want to be doing, especially backwards. But that bump coming out, just making sure that goalie was definitely not going to get it. He looks like he had a pretty good shot at it. Good team communication, good map awareness.
He even got to use his flip to get a little extra power. It's like, you make sure you get out of this net. Vogan, oh, the demo, Tinny. Tinny's upset about that one. He's like, I'm coming right back at you, bud. And a shot from Dogu, though.
The angle from Dogu, we've seen him pull these off. Dogu has shown very well so far in the RLCS. Devo gets the touch. He tries to slow it down because he doesn't want to come off as much, but him or a teammate wasn't in a position to follow that up. Positioning of your car actually right there shows exactly. If he'd been turned around and faced the other direction, he could have chased that immediately. But since he was turned backwards, it actually just gave Dogu the angle.
Pinch in favor of Devo there. Gets a long shot. Going to try to follow it up. Just keeps a body on it. See if they can keep the pressure on. Keep the ball in that orange half. No one there to pressure it. Dogu takes advantage of that. Sends it back into their zone. There's Jesse with a shot on target. Cheerio, the last defender. Nice lob. It gives his teammates enough time to get back in position. Devo takes control to Tinny. Tinny waiting for the pass. Good shot. There's not enough power, though, and that's going to be soft enough for Jesse to keep that to the side. Cheerio just trying to, once again, keep pressure on. Tinny keeping that in the slot. See if his teammates can get boosted up and keep the pressure as Eff0rt tries to even this game up. 2 goals down isn't too much of a deficit compared to last game especially.
Flying Dutchman's had some good defensive ball placement. A lot of times they're very nice. Even when they're caught in a tight place, they're pushing it to their own. They're pushing it to their own corners, cutting off the angles, where they're getting a really hard clear out of it, which is another reason why Eff0rt really hasn't been able to materialize any plays.
See if we can get a play here. Good touch from Vogan. Sends that way in to try to get themselves up, set up. Devo to Cheerio. Cheerio loses the 50-50 shot from Tinny. That was a rocket, but Jesse catches that one back to midfield. Devo and Dogu, the last one's going to fight it out, but Devo misses out on that. Gets the boost at least. Oh, Devo wins out on that, but no one there to follow it up. Like his teammate was just a little too far up. Tinny misreading where that ball would go. Now they have to backtrack into their own slot. We'll see. That's dangerous as you have the Flying Dutchman pressuring you in front of your net when you're just letting it bounce like that. Jesse just leaving that one. A little bit of confusion of who should be taking control of this. Devo sends it out for his teammates, Vogan. Nice easy touch to his teammate, or himself, sorry. Dogu moved back as they're sitting on defense now.
Seemed to be a little bit of the issue we saw in the first game with JJJ. If I had to say, like, Flying Dutchman seems to be more calm and collected. They seem to be in control. They know exactly where each other's going to be. Where Eff0rt is a little more excited right now. They're a little more jumping around, a little more jumpy. They're getting each other's ways here and there. They don't know who's exactly going to be for what ball, which is a little bit of the problems we saw out of the first game with JJJ.
Well, we'll see. They can get 2 goals. Minute 52 left. Devo way wide on that. Gives Vogan a heck of a lot of time to push that back into their end. No real plays coming out, just kind of back and forth from end to end. Both teams try to get control and get some good plays set up. Both teams doing a good job of intercepting anything that may come out from their opponents to midfield. Good lob. Jesse's going to keep that one low. Tinny reading that. Keeps it at midfield. Cheerio there. Loses the 50-50. That's just wide of the net. Devo keeps that to the side and actually gets a really good clear. Tinny follows it up himself. Can he get a good touch on this? One defender. This is going to be a goal for them. No, Tinny! Devo, please! And Tinny almost saved that, too.
This is what we can see, though. They made a good play out of it. Tinny followed through. He got the second touch, kind of messed Vogan up. He tried to backflip it. Tinny, I can't tell if that mind game was on purpose. He went to go for the shot. We saw a Flying Dutchman defender just whiz on by expecting the shot, and then the ball was just clear, open, and net, ready for Devo to take it.
I think he just got excited, but thankfully Devo was there to follow up in case anything happened, because that puts him down. Only 1 goal now on the scoreboard. Minute of gameplay left, and Tinny ties it up.
A good demo, making Flying Dutchman really unaware of their rotations. Demos tend to just freak people out. Once you hear it, you're like, oh no, we're down a player. Now what's going on? We had a demo in the corner. Dogu was going to come out for it. He hesitated a little too much, and Tinny, seeing the opportunity, gets a nice fast shot just above him.
And now we have an even scoreboard coming into the final minute of gameplay. This is anybody's game. It definitely ramped up from that last minute of gameplay that we saw previously, as now Eff0rt making the moves to try to pull a win on this. Good touch from Devo. Sends that way deep. Tinny looked like he was trying to get something. Devo off the backboard. Cheerio's there for the setup. Can he get the shot? Dogu is in spot to push that out, but this can still be a shot on net. Tinny just needs to get another touch. Cheerio in a bad spot as now he has to backtrack. Gives that back to Devo. Good back pass. Back to midfield. Tinny to follow up. Really good team plays coming out of Zero1st.
Now the pressure's coming on. Now they're working together. They're passing it mid. They're forcing Flying Dutchmen into poor defensive touches, which is exactly what you want to do. You don't want to let them push you to the corner. You want to force them into just like a risky save that just make them have to touch it, even if it's not where they want to put it.
Oh no, that's a shot on net. Devo though takes the shot. It's a bad pass from Tinny off the wall, and that's going to be off the crossbar.
So hard for Tinny to save this. He was actually sitting in net, waiting, prepared. They actually had good rotations here, but Vogan waiting for that off the sidewall. It might have actually pinched. It's really hard to tell from the angle. It might have pinched with the Zero Effort play because that was extremely fast for the rotation. But as we know, the corners of the Octanes are powerful enough to pull that off, but great placement putting it at the top of the net.
Flying Dutchman now up 1 goal on Zero1st in the final 15 seconds of gameplay. If Flying Dutchmen win this, they take away with a 2-0, and that's a shot on net. Oh no, Cheerio. That's heartbreaking for him, but Devo is there to follow up. We'll see 6 seconds left to stay in this. We'll see if they can do a Tinny off the backboard. This could still be a scoring opportunity. Cheerio's there. Can he get the angle? It's still up in the air. Zero1st has a chance, but that's going to roll to the ground. And Flying Dutchmen take it 2-0.
Flying Dutchmen, congratulations to them. They have just qualified for the group stages.
Absolutely.
Zero1st now going down to loser bracket. They still have an opportunity. But we did see them come alive finally in the last few minutes of that second game.
And that's what they needed. That's what I wanted to see. We know that Zero1st can do it, and they finally started doing it. A little too late for them, but they still have losers' chance. As you just mentioned, they can still pull through, face some of the losers, and still get one of those group stage spots. So it'll be fun to see if they can do that in the losers. But once again, congratulations to Flying Dutchmen for grabbing themselves a spot once again in the top 8 for EU in the group stage. It's incredible to see both teams. I'm wondering what we'll see down in the losers group, but we're going to head over to the desk and see what they had to say about that last match.
Thank you so much, Leafex. I mean, of course, congratulations to Flying Dutchmen as they join Supersonic Avengers as well as Flipside Tactics and Weedham Girls in the EU group stages, which will be taking place next week. Flying Dutchmen, though, out of the gate, just aggression. It was phenomenal. And one thing that I had took note in that game was that the control from Flying Dutchmen, it was great to see them force Zero1st to have to react to whatever was the Flying Dutchmen were bringing at them, and Zero1st just did not have an answer gives.
Zero1st didn't know what to do that first game. They had 3 in the crease a lot of the times because they're just like, this pressure is too much. Let's hope we can get a counter, but they just didn't allow it. They would just throw it off the backboard for the Flying Dutchmen and keep just peppering shots. 13-2 in the first game.
Yeah, that first game from Flying Dutchmen showed what it's like to be a calm and collected team, where they just came in, they played their game. They didn't worry about, we talked about how they should just focus on their goal ahead and solidify it, and they did. They played with no pressure whatsoever from themselves, which is really tough as a team, especially when mental game plays such a huge role.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the replays as well, as there were quite a few from the Flying Dutchmen. Some excellent work from them, most notably at the beginning from Dogu opening things up here, and just a brilliant double touch there right at the backboard to just bring that one in. I mean, just look at that, right at the corner, and just dunked it in.
Sometimes you need a little luck, but all 3 went for it from Zero1st, and that's what was happening a lot from them. And this goal should have never happened with the backflip, please, from Devo. That's an easy save because it was a midfield shot.
Right, and then Flying Dutchmen, I mean, other than just their offense, they played a lot of defense. I mean, they had a lot of saves that were pretty clutch here. Where look how 3 people are always on defense. Like, they rotated back so well to save.
Oh, their saves too were big clears.
Yeah,
like it wasn't just like, oh, it's a juicy.
Yeah, they didn't stay in front of the net.
Yeah, but then Devo coming back, like Zero1st finally showed up in the last minute 30 and made it a series, but they just couldn't pull it out.
He actually worried me on that one. I thought he was going to hesitate on it, but Vogan, that shot going across field and actually hitting the crossbar, that's so tough to have to predict against. When that ball is hitting the top, it's like, is it going to bounce out? Is it going to go in? Either way, someone should have been up to save it, but still, great placement by Vogan.
It was good to see Zero1st show some life at the end of that game. It was tied until Vogan just sealed the deal there for Flying Dutchmen. But something I did want to make note of as well, at around the 3-minute mark, there was just a clear open shot that Zero1st could have taken. We actually saw it before. Just what was it? Like, what was wrong here? I mean, clearly this team is great. They made it into group stages last time, and although they placed 8th, still, the group stages last tournament, it was like over 2,000, 3,000 teams that competed in that competition. So to make it into that top 8, incredible. But what was it there, Gibbs, that just prevented them from being able to read that play?
Yeah, that just separates like the best teams from the mediocre teams. Like the game 1 as well, like Cheerio had a double tap chance off the backward and just completely whiffed on it. Then when you get a ball that's past you sideways, all you got to do is just tip it forward and it'll keep the same velocity. And it was like off by a mile.
Yeah,
like,
you and I talked about like the ball was coming perfectly across, and all you had to do was just jump into it. It was an easy touch. The goalie was demoed. Like it was such an easy shot.
Yeah, when the goalie was demoed, I'm like, that's an open net.
And he rocketed it into like the top left. It's like, where's that ball going? Like those are the ones that they have to make, because I would have put them within 3 minutes in rather or 2 minutes in rather than where they waited to the last 2 to tie it up. I mean, they would have been in such a better position, and just shots like that, especially at this level, you have to make.
Yeah, Flying Dutchman punished them as well. Brilliant clears, really just kept that ball on the zero effort side. And because of that, Flying Dutchman, they are victorious. They're going to be moving on to the next round in this competition. And of course, as we had mentioned before, joining Flipside Tactics, Widom Girls, and Supersonic Avengers, who qualified just a matchup ago. Now, the good news here, folks, is that we have yet another qualification match coming up next, and this one is going to be a great matchup. It is going to be Team Solid versus Comrade Gaming. According to the community power rankings, this is a very close matchup between these two teams. Who will come out on top is the question. We'll find out in just a little bit.